tourism. It's one of those things that gets tossed around a lot, especially when you're dealing with a lot of the more geeky hobbies. Video games, art, manga, name your medium of choice, it doesn't really matter because it's all downstream from the effect of elitism. And you can't even lie, a lot of it has to do with being a more hardcore fan. Think that one dude that always insists that his opinions on whatever hobby you're thinking about is always right. Well, you're a big fella. Got any anime you could recommend for me? I see you need the taste of a true connoisseur. What? Interspecies reviewers, Kiss Ex-Sister, My Little Sister Shouldn't Be This Cute, You Can Eat the Girl, Handshakers, Redo of a Healer, Onimai, Gabrielle Dropout, Lucky Star, Secret Mission, Overflow. Ah, those are very nice. I was thinking something more along the lines of Demon Slayer, One Punch Man, Olympic Ponyo at this point. I can see my tastes aren't as well received. My palate is far too advanced for the likes of you normies. You mind if I check your hard drive? Alright, now you took it too far. And it's one of those things that really starts to lose its luster because it gets tossed pretty much anytime there's a criticism of any little thing. But in a way, we can understand why a lot of these hobbies end up being gatekept so hard. Not everyone coming into these hobbies is really doing so with an open mind. You've got people waltzing on in, coming in demanding change, or gracing your timeline with not the best of opinions. So because of how it's been in a lot of the pop media we tend to consume, it's not really that hard to understand why people get so antsy about new people coming into their hobbies. Because admittedly, it is annoying how somebody could come into a hobby for 10 seconds and then just start barking out orders about how it should change to accommodate them. But it's like, come on, relax, you've been here for 10 seconds. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm looking at this from the angle of anime, but this can be applied just as easily to pretty much any other hobby you can think of. So the way I see things when it comes to tourists is that they usually come in two groups. The first group is gonna be like your normal average person, somebody you could pick up out of a Walmart or a Target. These kinds of tourists are just people who might come into your hobby because they see a large gathering of people, they just want to see what they're interested in. Hi, I noticed you have this hyperfixation, are you willing to share it with me? And these guys are totally okay. Nobody really has a problem with these guys because they're a lot more respectful of the hobby as a whole. They will never come in and demand change or ask that you accommodate them. But then there's the second group of tourists that everybody actually has a problem with. These are the guys that come in and decide that for whatever reason what you're doing is bad. That you need to change things integral to your hobby to accommodate me. For whatever reason they can't have it the way that you were doing it. It's a bit weird. Cause you always gotta ask like, okay, but why are you even here? If you didn't like it the way we're doing it, why did you come? The first group of people are generally a lot more respectable to the hobby itself. They don't want to change anything, they just want to see if it's their cup of tea, and that's totally okay. But it's that second group that gets everybody's blood boiling. And those are usually the ones that end up being the loudest when all tourists are inevitably gatekept from the main parts of the hobby. But the more I see this happening, the more it really seems like gatekeeping isn't really such a bad thing. And I think one of the biggest misunderstandings with the idea of gatekeeping your hobbies is the idea that because you gatekeep it, it therefore cannot grow. Which isn't true even in the slightest. Gatekeeping does not mean a hobby cannot evolve, because it's actually a sign of the opposite. See, whenever you guys enter a new hobby, everything you see right there presented in front of you is a direct result of everything that preceded it. To spit on everything now is to disrespect on everything there was before. Like, you can't generally just start running around and then disrespecting things that are core aspects of whatever hobby you decided to enter. Which brings us back to the man of the hour. Or should I say, the men of the hour. The anime men. Now, I'm not gonna rehash what you already know. So to keep it the most bare bones and brief way I can, you've got a bunch of dudes that came out during the COVID era and started reviewing a lot of the core animes that are basically just the quintessential ones to the anime hobby as a whole. Long story short, they shit on ones like Astro Boy, ones that served as inspirations for a lot of the ones you could see now. But before we continue, I do have to point something out. I'm gonna teach you guys something called environmental storytelling. Blinders are up, indicating you willfully let light into the room. His hair is washed, feet cleaned with nails trimmed, light muscle meaning he goes to the gym, not a crumb of dirt on the floor with a completely unstained carpet. No one with this level of accountability to their personal appearance or the space they exist in would have given you any decent opinion on anime. After a certain point, you just gotta blame yourself. There is a reason that the default for an anime convention is to remind patrons to take a shower, put on deodorant. Because guess what? That guy that you see is nothing more than a Reddit build neckbeard. That signature stank he has emanating off of him to the point where if you enter a 200-foot radius, that red counter you didn't even know you had starts ticking up. That slightly sticky body pillow with a girl of questionable age in a jar somewhere in his room. Oh yeah. He's the one they make anime for. You will almost never want to encounter this sort of person in any sort of a social situation, but if you ever need an anime recommendation, you know he's got that good. But what makes this type of tourism the most upsetting is that it inherently makes no sense. Like, you just showed up 10 seconds ago. Why does the entire hobby need to change to accommodate you? Remember, there isn't anything stopping what you want from existing. You got into something like anime using insert pop media, yet it exists alongside what you intended to change. The fact that you're here at all proves it. Every animation, every ninja fight, every slice of life, every artist dumping thousands of hours into the medium just to give you a smile, culminated at the point that you flicked on the first part 1 of 30 for an anime episode, and I would not rob you of that. Like, listen, I can understand you might not like what's behind door number 1, but you don't need to remove the door. Like, listen, it's not your cup of tea. You have doors 2, 3, 4, and 5, and those might better suit your tastes. The idea of you being here means that we can keep what's integral to the medium without having to destroy it at every turn.